The uproar over Epstein continues to grow, and a Trump advisor is warning Trump that he is cooked and that Democrats might be missing the point. Right now, Pam Bondi's bungling of the Epstein issue is causing a media circus. Social media is filled with images like these. MAGA faithful torching their hats with all the passion of their former Bud Light outrage. And of course, mean girl Megyn Kelly, never missing an opportunity to emerge from her faded glory, posted this about the issue, obviously hoping that her subtle shifting of blame from Trump to Bondi will bring her back into Republican Party relevance. It won't. But the media circus is not confined to social media. Mainstream media is on full-time Epstein duty. And as my colleague Dan has reported, even Fox News ain't buying what Donald Trump is selling. So is anyone surprised that Chris Christie jumped at the first chance he could to try and bury Trump? Take a look at this, but then stay around and watch what a Trump insider has to say, because there's an important lesson for Democrats to learn.
What Donald Trump is learning is when you start the fire, sometimes you can't put it out. Now, he started this Epstein fire during the campaign and prior to that by alleging that this was all some, Democratic plot. That he was perhaps murdered by former Democratic office holders, that there were a lot of Democrats who had been down to Jeffrey Epstein's island and all the rest. He used that to fire up his own base, and he was going to get to the bottom of it, and he was going to release it because he's absolutely in favor of transparency. Well, now you get into the job and you realize, maybe I don't want to do that. And let's be clear about this. Pam Bondi, there's no chance, in my opinion, that Pam Bondi made this decision on her own. No chance. She was instructed by the White House that we're not releasing this stuff. And that's why he's defending her. And now he's at cross purposes, though, because when you bring in people like Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, who are true believers in what Trump was saying prior to getting elected, they're saying, wait a second, we came here to do the transparency thing. We cannot let the president off that easily. He benefited directly from it. He fueled it. He encouraged it. And he certainly didn't stop it. So, part of what bothers me in this context is that Donald Trump gets a pass. Oh, no, it wasn't him. It was somebody else. He took these people who were doing exactly what you just said and put them in charge of the people on the front line of protecting the American people from crime and terrorism and counterintelligence operations. He encouraged this, and by putting them in those positions, he supported the work they were doing.
So while Christie is right about getting at responsibility, former Trump advisor David Urban was on CNN saying the issue for the MAGA faithful is accountability. Watch.
I don't think, and at the end of the day, I don't know if it's going to break apart MAGA, but the issue is bigger. Steve Bannon, I think, nails it here directly. It's really not about Jeffrey Epstein. It's about accountability. And I think the base, you heard Trump talk about this for a long time. There's a two-tier system of justice in America. And the elites get protected, and the FBI protects them, and the deep state protects them. And I think that's what the base is looking at here, the MAGA base is looking at. They want accountability for people who may or may not be on this list, who may be rich and powerful and famous, and that somehow the government, writ large, is looking the other way. And they see large investigations on January 6th, on Russiagate, on the president, on these huge investigations that take years, and they think, why aren't we putting the same sort of resources in here when there was child sex abuse involved and very powerful people? And so that lends itself to not just, the kind of fringe elements saying this, but a lot of rational, reasonable people are asking, why aren't we looking at this more deeply?
Urban is right when he says this is about accountability. And to a degree, he's right that it's not about Epstein. But it very much is about sex with minors. And this is where Democrats need to not miss the forest for the trees. On the one hand, Democrats need to keep the pressure up. And specifically, Democrats in Congress need to get in front of microphones and demand congressional investigations. On the other hand, Democrats need to dig deeper about why this is exploding now. Trump's base has known for years that he is a serial abuser, and they know it from Trump himself. Access Hollywood's tape was supposed to doom his 2016 campaign, but he still won. Howard Stern has him on tape bragging about his raids on the dressing rooms of beauty pageants so that he could see naked teenagers. That tape has been out there for years. His base is unmoved by it. So why now? Yes, part of it is the criminality of underage women and because of the cover-up itself. But it would be a big mistake to overlook the fact that MAGA is already fed up with Trump, thanks in no small part to Elon Musk and his famous Doge cuts. Those cuts not only put an enormous amount of people out of work, but they were an attack on veterans. Farmers have crops rotting in their fields because of Doge cuts, tariffs, and the big, beautiful billionaire butt-kissing bill is going to make it even worse. And Trump's poll numbers, specifically on immigration, are tanking because Trump lied when he announced his war on brown people. Turns out people do not want their local landscapers, construction workers, farm workers, hotel workers, and children in schools snatched off the streets like this was Nazi Germany. That's not what they voted for. All of Trump's policy is blowing up in his face. So anyone arguing that Democrats need to stay centrist fundamentally doesn't know what they are talking about. Trump's now infamous social media post telling his followers to just let it go just blew up in his face. But his followers were already smoldering with rage over what he's been up to. Now is the time for Democrats to keep up the pressure on this Epstein scandal, but to campaign on pocketbook issues that show a true alternative. $15 or $20 minimum wage, minimum taxes on corporations and billionaires, Medicare for all, and a host of other things. Democrats need to do precisely what Trump is incapable of doing. Read the room. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.